Let's do it. Today is day 6, 6th-8th, 6th through 8th grade readiness. Let us talk about it. All right, here we go. So, okay, this is the last day that we're going to talk grade specific. Tomorrow, I'm going to answer questions, ask questions, and give a little advice to parents about how you can bridge the gap between home and school. We're going to talk about professionalism, both student and parent and teacher, and just some tips that I really think are helpful as a teacher. Some things that I think are helpful in regards to your students, their grades, and building relationships throughout the year. These are guaranteed things that work. All right. So if you want your child to be in a better position as far as relationship um, and community, tomorrow, please meet me here for the final day where we were talking about building the bridge between home and school and what that looks like and means for you. Okay. Yesterday we talked about 4th and 5th grade readiness. I want to give some 6th through 8th grade readiness tips, but I want to also introduce two very good resources. So one of the things that I am charged with, and I charge myself with it, is twofold. One, making sure that students that I encounter are at least two grade levels above level. Okay, so that is a personal goal of mine. The other thing is to try to get those students, if their families are interested, try to get them into better schools. All right, so many of the schools that I work with and that my students are a part of are Title I schools. Um, there are schools that aren't necessarily terrible schools, but they are schools that don't have the same resources, don't have the same parental support, possibly, uh, maybe even the same behavioral issues as that of a private school. Okay, so one of the things that I do is to make sure that students who are interested are getting into quality school programming. And we start in the 4th grade with these programs that I'm about to introduce to you. And students typically, on average, get into the school of their choice by 6th grade. Okay, so because I talked to you yesterday about 4th and 5th grade readiness, let me introduce to you one program that you should look at. Okay, as a even as a third grade parent. Okay, I want you to look at these things here. All right. The first program is called A Better Chance. Okay, A Better Chance. Now, this program you can find at abetterchance.org. Okay, abetterchance.org. All right. Now, this program I've worked with for years um, with families, and this program is really it's good. It's a good program. You have this one and you have Stepping Stone Scholars. Now, in recent months, maybe even years, I've found that Stepping Stones has they've kind of changed their programming. However, the A Better Chance program is still alive and well, and we just recently got about three of our students into better schooling there. All right. So the purpose of A Better Chance is to identify, recruit, and develop leaders around the country. Right. Not just any leaders, but they're interested primarily in young people of color, right, throughout the United States, right? So if you are a parent of a young person of color, this is going to be for you. Now, this program you can enter in the 4th grade, okay? 4th grade. So those of you who are in the 3rd grade, so for me, my son can't get in yet, but because he's going into the 3rd grade, I'm already thinking about the things that we need in order to ensure that he can get into this program. Okay, so here's what the program does. The program prepares your student to take the ISEE and or SSAT. Okay. I actually think a better chance does SSAT and Stepping Stones used to do ISEE. I'm not sure, but either way, your student can prepare for those things. Now, the huge part about SSAT and ISEE is going to be the vocabulary. Okay, the vocabulary is rigorous. Okay, there could be thousands of words that your child will need to know in order to do well on the vocabulary test. Now there are little tricks that you can do, which are things like teaching affixes. Affixes are your prefixes and your suffixes, right? Prefixes being the beginning of a word like re, pre, non, right? What do those things mean? And then teaching them suffixes, which is a whole lot easier than teaching them thousands of words, right? Suffixes would be like ness, Ness, Ous, which means full of. Ology, Ology. What do these things mean? So when we teach prefixes and suffixes, sometimes a child may not know the root word, right? In the middle. But if they know the meaning of a prefix and they know the meaning of a suffix, it makes life a whole lot easier for them to choose among a group of definitions, okay, or synonyms. All right. So in the fourth grade, you can get your child into this. Now, your child has to already be in the fourth grade. So I think they open up their enrollment in like February. Okay. So let's say, so my son is going into the third grade. He'll be in the fourth grade next September, but I cannot apply for him to get into this program in February. This is for people whose children are already in fourth grade this year in September. So I couldn't apply for my son to get into this program for another year. Okay. He would have to be in fourth grade for a few months before I could apply to this. Now, what are the requirements? Typically, the requirements are your child's PSSA scores. Okay, yes, the one that your little baby took in third grade. For these programs, you'll need your child's PSSA scores from third grade if you're going to enter them into this program, a betterchance.org. If you're going to enter them into this program by the fourth grade, your child will need their third grade PSSA scores. They will also need their trimester or semester report cards. Okay? So from the third grade, we should be making sure that our children's PSSA scores for Pennsylvania, whatever your standardized testing score is, have that, and their report card should be on point. You should also have a relationship or relationships built with the principal and with a reading and math teacher. Not just in third grade, but in fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Here's why this is so important. Because when you're trying to get into this program, and again, what I'm talking about right now is called a betterchance.org. This is a program whose goal and mission is to identify, recruit, and develop young people of color throughout the United States. Okay? If you want your child into this program, you must enroll them not by. They cannot enroll until the fourth grade. You can actually enroll after the fourth grade, but the rule of thumb, if you can, is get them in the fourth grade, okay, so that they can have a better chance, pun intended, of getting into a better school by middle school. Okay, so they'll more than likely spend their elementary years in their current elementary school, but the goal is to get them into a well-known, well-established middle school, right, where people pay $30,000 and $40,000 to get into these schools. Well, this program prepares your child to take the test in order to be selected by these schools. Now, a lot of times they're selected with a scholarship or with really good financial aid. The process can be a bit rigorous for the parent. You're going to need things like tax information. You're going to need all of your assets and all of your debt. Um, you're going to need to write answers to open-ended questions. So things like, what kind of child is your child when it comes to learning? Your child is going to have to write an essay, and they're going to have to answer open-ended questions about a time when, maybe they were showing leadership, or a time of a really good, a popular question is a time where you had to persevere, go through something, get over it. How did you, right? How did you endure? How did you persevere? What was the result? Okay. But look at a betterchange.org. You also want to maybe look at stepping stones. So let me look at stepping stones with you. I have not worked with this program in a couple of years because it appears that they changed their programming to only be for high schoolers. Okay, let me quickly go through this. But the website is steppingstonescholars.org, and you have a betterchance.org. Okay, so both of them have .orgs. Okay, so they have pathways. They serve students from ages 10 to 24. I know that Temple University partners with them, Penn University partners with them, LaSalle, the School District of Philadelphia, and Drexel University. Okay, oftentimes they can be found having a summer camp, and so what folks are, so for example, summer of this year, um, the opportunities that they have for scholars or for students who live in Philadelphia, all right, and are over the age of 12, all right, they are also required to complete work ready summer paperwork. Okay, so this is why this stuff is so super important. Go ahead and review those things if you are interested. Now, a better chance is all over the place. Okay, so even if you're not in Philadelphia, you want to look at a betterchance.org and figure out where in your city or state they have the best programming. Now, due to COVID, a lot of this stuff has been remote. So I'm not sure. Now that we got monkeypox, child, we might be back in the house. Okay, but you want to look at it and figure out what it means for you and what it means for your child. Okay, so there's that. I know they have member schools all over the country, right? Remember, their mission is to find people, young people of color, around the country, right? So it would make sense that they do have member schools around the country. Some schools I've worked with: Episcopal Academy, Baldwin, Shipley, Academy of Notre Dame. One of my students was actually on my tutoring clients we got in. One of them was actually on the website. I was like blown away, because to watch this little girl go through productive struggle, go through giving up, to failing the test twice, passing it, and being the poster child for their website just totally, totally blew my mind. Okay, so a betterchance.org, steppingstonescholars.org. Okay, start them in the fourth grade. All right, so I wanted to start our 6th to 8th grade conversation off with that, because technically, if you apply for these things when your child is in the fourth grade, by the sixth grade, they're going to be able to be in a middle school that will certainly prepare them for the world. Okay, 6th to 8th grade education, as far as reading is concerned. All right. Again, the resources I just gave are a betterchance.org, steppingstonescholars.org. Please, ma'am, please, sir, look into those. Get your children enrolled. They're looking for people that they can help build and prepare to pass the SSAT and the ISEE, so that your child can get into a premier middle school and high school, especially if your children um, have a bright future, right? They're intelligent. A lot of them are probably already bored, right, or not receiving what you feel like they should be receiving in regards to education. Go ahead and look at those two programs, all right, and see what that can do for you. All right, sixth grade. Um, Again, sixth, seventh, and eighth, honestly, same type of ELA. Okay, the only thing that shifts in sixth, seventh, and eighth grade, this is definitely middle school. The only thing that shifts in the educational process may be how difficult the academic vocabulary is to pronounce. Like all of them are going to cite textual evidence. So remember, we went from quote, right, to cite. Now we're at cite. All right. So in fifth grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, it was quote, right, textual evidence. We talked about how to lift things from the text, give credit to the text, and all of that. Well, the language changes by sixth grade. All right. So now you'll see the word cite. Guess what? It means the same thing. When you cite textual evidence, you quote Jesus the Christ, textual evidence. Okay, so it's almost like they try to trick you, right? Like quote is cite is quote, right? Textual evidence to support analysis of what the text says explicitly. Here we go again with that, as well as draw inferences, right? The same thing. Determine the theme, central idea. The same thing. Describe a particular story's drama, right? Their plot, which we talked about. Plot is just simply a fancy word for events in a story, okay? Determine the meaning of words. All of this is really, really, really the same. Now, can I be honest with you about the sixth grade? I think I shared with you a little that the sixth grade is not my favorite grade to teach. Hey, Martin, the sixth grade is not my favorite grade, okay? As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, if I had to pick a grade where they would have to pay me $1 million to teach it, it would be the sixth grade. Okay? Here's why. Woo! Child, brings me to tears. Okay? The sixth grade is so difficult for me because, like, when I have kids, students in the third grade, fourth grade, I always tell the parents, baby, sixth grade is coming. Baby, sixth grade is coming. Right? Here's why. During the sixth grade, like right at the end of fifth, certainly all of six, and right at the beginning of seven, right? Sharita Martin, that transition will rock nations. Do you hear me? It is in this moment that, first of all, biologically, children are changing, right? So some of this stuff, they don't know what to do with. I remember I had a child who was so sweet. She was just always quiet, always cool, right? She gets up, y'all. Everybody's quiet. She walks across the room, slaps a boy. I mean, open hand. Now, if you gonna slap somebody, and you open hand slap them, that's disrespect. All right, at least in the hood, like you don't just open slap or spit on nobody. I mean, open palm like. So she gets up, sweetheart, quiet. Don't ever have a problem with her. Slaps this boy. I promise you on everything I love. This is the honest to God's truth. Slaps him. Walks back to her seat. I say to her, what? Now, meanwhile, the boy, first of all, can I tell you the boy that got slapped actually gave me a concussion 2 years later. So there's that. But anyway, so I asked her, I said, why did you slap him? She says, I don't know. Like literally, like she was like, I don't know. I mean, just as innocent. And like my baby, my innocent child, I could see her in there, but she legit could not explain to me what made you just get up and go across a room while the room is quiet, open palm slap this boy, and go back to your seat. Sixth grade is the age and grade where biologically they are going through so much. Social status becomes more important than any lesson you think you did a good job teaching in your house. I don't care if it's a single parent family or if it's two parents that are in love. Them kids change in sixth grade. Do you hear me? I've seen people who were absolute scholars. I mean, would cry if they got an 89 on the test. Would beg me to take something over again if they got a 98 in fourth and fifth grade. Because I done told all the grades, child. One grade, I moved up every year with them for 4 years. Every year I was putting out a fire in the next grade. It was just crazy. So, but sixth grade is a tough grade. If you have children that are not in the sixth grade yet and they're on their way to sixth grade, you should probably start praying tonight. Without fail. I have parents who are like, "Let me talk to you about my child," and they'll tell me all this stuff, and I'll be like, "Are they in the sixth grade?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, how you know?" Woo! Pray today. Pray today. I don't care if your child is in kindergarten. You pray over their sixth grade year tonight. Start now. It is a crazy place. I mean, just swinging from chandeliers. Sexual orientation is a huge thing in the sixth grade. Huge thing. People are acting up. People don't know. They're trying to figure out who they are. There's an identity crisis that happens in the sixth grade. I dare you. I triple dog dare you. Ask a sixth grade teacher. You know a sixth grade teacher? Ask them. See if I'm lying. Something shifts. A lot of our sixth graders are also the ones that parents now rely on for their younger siblings, right? So they get a little authority too. You see what I'm saying? They're allowed to stay home by themselves now. So now they've arrived, right? So now they feel like they're in a little bit of control. Baby. So prepare yourself for the sixth grade. Now, let me encourage those of you who may have gone through the sixth grade already and your child is in like seventh. It shakes out. Okay? It shakes out. Maybe it doesn't shake out for the first 6 months of seventh grade, but it shakes out because by the eighth grade, I would say 70% of them are very, very calm. They're a little more confident in who they are, right? They have built their esteem. They understand friendship shift, right? In sixth grade, everybody's your friend. In eighth grade, they realize most of them are associates and you ain't got no friends in school, okay? So they start to calm down. They're also more aware of what their hair looks like. I done seen more edge control and edge brushes than I care to even admit in the eighth grade. Everything is a thing, right? Like they want to make sure they're neat. They're not really now our boys, some of them are still sagging their pants, but our girls are very much so into nails and looking well and all of that. Okay, sixth grade, not many of them care about much in sixth grade. Seventh and eighth grade, it shakes out. So if you are somebody who's like, girl, I had to deal with that last year. My child was in. Now, last year is a weird year to try to measure. Like, what? Because it was our first year after COVID. So your kindergartners were probably crazy. Like that. I was crazy in last year. So there's that. So you can't really measure it necessarily from last year. But if you're somebody who maybe your child was in sixth grade 2 years ago and now they're going into eighth grade and you haven't really seen a shift in their behavior, it shakes out. It shakes out. They're more accustomed to what's happening biologically, right? They understand how to, and I ain't gonna get technical and deep, but you all know what I'm saying. Girls go through their thing, boys go through their thing. They also really start to like each other in the sixth grade. So everybody got a boyfriend, but nobody's boyfriend got money to pay for the pretzel sale or the lemonade stand. But everybody got a boyfriend. I still don't know what boyfriend means necessarily in the sixth grade, right? I always ask to try to figure this thing out, and they're just like, "Oh, we just talk. We talk a lot. Well, what y'all do when y'all go like, what that mean? Oh, well, what? He's just my boyfriend. Okay, okay. So so they're trying to figure out now. Seventh and eighth grade, they visiting. The parents letting their people come over and all of that. But sixth grade, that's where we are right now. Okay, sixth grade ELA. Honestly, build the foundation, build the foundation, build the foundation. What does the reading look like? Remember, you take a 6, add a 0. What does that create? 60. What is the 60? The percentage of nonfiction that your child should be reading. Remember, this is just me. This is my rule, my golden thought. This is what I think works. All right. If your child is in a grade, add a 0. Put a percentage sign behind it. That represents the amount of nonfiction text they should be reading. Okay, so fifth grade is 50-50. Nonfiction, 50% fiction. Sixth grade, now we're shifting, right? Up until fifth grade, it was more fiction than nonfiction. We slowly, right, integrated nonfiction into the mix. Well, sixth grade is now 60% nonfiction, 40% fiction. Okay, now sometimes this is hard because a lot of our kids love what's called graphic novels, right? They're comic books essentially. You want to try to break out of comic books. The reason is because although it brings joy, right? And well, if they want to do 40% of it for their fiction, that's fine. But you do want to try to wean your child off of graphic novels. The reason is because it's a lot of pages, but it's not a lot of words on the pages, right? Most of it is graphic art, right? Most of it is zing, bow, bip, zip, right? And they take up a whole page to say bang. Well, in 6th grade, your child don't really need bang. I mean, bang is great. It's onomatopoeia. It's part of the figurative language family. Okay, great. But more than likely, unless your child is writing a fictional story about a time when, or something like that, your child is going to be writing more nonfiction things there. All right. So you want to try to steer clear of that kind of stuff. So fiction books are okay, but in 6th grade, steer clear of comic books. And if y'all going on vacation or something, whatever, okay, cool. But try to really bring them into fiction books that have chapters, right? Less pictures. All right. Make sure you're doing that. All right. So this is it, right? 6th grade. I'll just go through. I can literally go through 7th and 8th right now and be done. It literally is the same thing. Cite. Okay. So here's the difference. 6th grade says cite textual evidence to support analysis. All right. 7th grade says cite several pieces of textual evidence. Yesterday we talked about what's called paired text. In 5th grade, you should be actually in 4th grade, because remember, 4th grade said 2 to 3. They should be able to synthesize 2 to 3 texts at a time, right? So we talked about Venn diagrams, compare, contrast, all of that. Well, paired text. So what is that again? Is when you can take 2 or more texts, or when you can take a movie and a chapter book, right? Synthesize information to answer questions about each one of those. Okay? Now, the movie may be about something different. I may show you a movie about, I don't know, presidents of the United States, or, and then have you, I don't know why I'm trying to make this up. Y'all know what I'm saying. I might show you a movie about Barack Obama, right? And have you read a book about Frederick Douglass. Okay? Movie, right? Both black men. Um, I want to know some things that are alike about them and some things that are very different, right? Very different about them, because trust me, there are. And they're going to be physical things. They're going to be things that are not physical. They're going to be things that, beliefs, ideals, stuff like that. Okay? You want to be able to take those things. And I talked to you about what does that mean, right? And we also want to talk about oral presentation. Remember, you should be helping your child to present orally starting in the 4th grade. Okay? Again, start at home. Have them compare and contrast 2 different things. I used my communion cup yesterday, right? Here's a communion cup, here's a candle, right? This candle smells really good too, by the way, if y'all want to look into that. It's called leather and brandy, all right? Right? Compare and contrast these things. Stand up in front of me and tell me what you have in your hand, right? They're going to be able to tell you similarities and differences, all right? Grade 8, we're done with ELA. Grade 8, cite the textual evidence that most strongly supports an analysis, right? So it's all about citing, it's all about quoting, it's all about being able to look at this, analyze it, right? And prepare your argument, right? Prepare that. I'm trying to read some of your stuff. Compare that to something else. All right. So let's see. Oh man, guys are so in my district, 7th, because they're contained in 6th, but it's changing. Yeah, you'll have a 6th grader in September. Prophet Sharita Martin. I'm praying for you, woman of God. I've been praying since he got in this. Oh, yeah, fist fights. Yeah, people that never fought all year, people who were model students, all of a sudden they fight. Like, where'd that come from? They don't even know where it came from, right? They don't even know. Oh, Melanie. Oh, going to 5th. I'm praying for you, woman of God. So, Sharita Martin, you also believe that environment too. A lot of your elementary kids started to find their sexual identity in 3rd, 4th, 5th. Yep. I had in 4th grade, my first 4th grade teaching year, 12 years ago. I did not know. There was a whole investigation where a 4th grade girl was beating other girls up. Y'all remember when y'all teachers? You remember where we used to let people go to the bathroom 2 at a time? Well, that stopped. That stopped years ago. And when I realized it stopped, we had to stop because there was one girl who was pretty sure of who she was sexually in the 4th grade. Blew my mind. I had no idea. And what she was doing was she was taking kids into the bathroom and forcing them to do stuff. We had no idea. It was huge, right? Talk to your children. Ask them what's going on, right? We had a fourth grader who was taking kids in the bathroom and making them do things to her. So it might have even been, and you know what else it is? Talk to your children about truth or dare, right? They're daring people to do stuff. So let's say you have a girl that has to kiss another girl, right? So now all of a sudden, right? And this is a conversation you have with your own. I'm just telling you what my experiences are, right? You have this truth or dare, and it's innocent to the person who knows not that they're really essentially being jumped into this thing. Take it how you want. I got my own, but I'm telling you what happened, right? So I'll have girls who'll be like, but it was a dare. And then the rumor will be, right, that this person and this person now go together. So now your child is dealing with this thing that they didn't really like. I didn't realize that was happening. And now all of a sudden I must be what they say I am. Y'all can get mad at me if you want, but this is what they do. I must be what they say I am because I really did do that. I did do the dare. So that must mean such a have a conversation with your children because Sharita Martin, you're right. This starts in the third and fourth grade. And we had to stop letting girls and boys go to the bathroom because there were so many, for lack of a better word, victims. There were so many girls who were going home, like, and we had no idea that this was happening. None. All right. So please make sure you're having conversation with your children. All right. You want them to be able to retell and evaluate text. Yep. Yep. JD Charlotte, you wanna teach? Yes, yes, sir. All right, one at a time. Yeah, this is what we now have to do because you guys have to remember too, like we lost community a long time ago. Right now, adults can't say anything to children without parents, wanting to fight. I have never seen more parent. Now, ain't nobody ever want to come fight me. I'm gonna leave that alone. But ain't nobody ever want to come fight. But then a lot of parents also respect me too. So I've intervened in home situations. I had one kid who refused to talk to his aunt until he got to school the next day because he wanted me to be in the room. Y'all better treat these teachers better. Let me tell you something. We find out more stuff about y'all and what you're doing at home than you care for your children. You let a journal. You want to know what child teachers have journal time. I do social and emotional learning every single day in my classroom. And I have children and I use Eric Thomas a lot too. So for my teachers out there, if you want a good social and emotional learning um, motivational speech, go on YouTube. Eric Thomas is phenomenal, particularly if you have a lot of black boys. Yeah, like yeah, he's that guy, right? Make sure this year and every year to come, if you are a teacher, that you incorporate some kind of social and emotional learning piece. I don't care if you teach math, right? Have some kind of social and emotional learning time in your classroom because what happens is that it creates a culture, a family culture. It creates a culture of respect, diversity, and it creates identity for your classroom, right? Because people feel safe there because they are allowed to express themselves in ways that they can't even express themselves in their own houses. Okay? Make sure you're having this time. You will learn a whole lot about parents and families, right? And a lot of times as teachers, and I encourage teachers, if there's a kid you don't like, there's something you don't understand about them. Most of us dislike, and we have since we were children. The people you dislike are typically the people you don't understand. You really don't understand why they act like that. So you'd rather cancel them and not deal with them than to get to understand them, right? But teaching is a ministry, right? Your job is to figure out, okay, why is this person acting up? Why? Why? I had one girl last year, I mean, she could not stop gyrating her body. And I sat in a room full of teachers who were like, well, I think she has ADHD. No, honey, this ain't ADHD. Somebody touched that little girl. You could diagnose it with what you want. I know that. So when I talk to her, it's a little bit different. Baby, who you dating? You got a boyfriend? What? Yeah. No. I know the difference between what they talking about and what I see. All this gyration you doing, honey. That somebody is. So here's what happens. Because I have a social and emotional learning piece in my classroom, I get confessions. I've had boys come out in my classroom. Why? Because the environment is such that they feel like anything is safe here. We have what's called locker room discussions, especially if they're in my homeroom. Shut the door. This is a locker room discussion. Whatever happens in here stays in here. Who did what to who? Tell me. Now, don't get me wrong. If it's something that I think a parent should know, I'm going to pull that child to the side and say, hey, I think we need to talk to your parents about this. What you think? But because they trust me, they trust that if I convey that information to their child, to their parent, that I'm going to do it in a much better way that's going to cause their parent, even if their parent is typically angry, because of my relationship with them and their parent, they know they're safe. 6th, 7th, 8th grade ain't for the faint. Be it a parent or a teacher, baby, you about to be on a roller coaster. Do you hear me? This thing gets lit. It gets bumpy. It gets rocky. Have 7th and 8th graders in gangs selling drugs. Let me tell you something. This thing ain't for the weak. Do you hear me? So this little, let me tell you something. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade education, Common Core standards is cute. But that's not how you're going to reach your kid in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You are only going to reach your kid by giving them the social and emotional learning piece that will empower and encourage them to have transparent conversations. Because at the end of the day, let me tell you about me. I'm a teacher that will shut a whole classroom down. Because if I can't teach you how to have self-control and to keep your mouth shut, the person that's going upside your head don't care nothing about this Pythagorean theorem. They want to know why you can't keep your lips shut. They want to know why you can't control yourself. Why are you so impulsive? How come when you're angry, you just walk up and punch people in the face? I like that too, but I can't do it. Right? I don't care nothing about this education. I would shut a whole room down to have a 3-day social and emotional learning conversation to make sure my children are okay. And I do it in my house. Right? So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I'm going to fly through this because I'm going to tell you this is not what you need. Right? There's Maslow's hierarchy of needs is super important. There are certain things that every single human being needs. I say this in the classroom and I say this in the church, right? I'm not going to minister to somebody that's homeless on the street and they haven't eaten in 3 days. I'm going to feed them first. I'm going to buy them something to eat. Then I'm going to tell them that Jesus loves them. They don't care if Jesus loves them if they're hungry. As a matter of fact, they actually don't believe he does because they're hungry. Well, guess what? The same is true for your children. They don't care nothing about no Pythagorean theorem, nor do they care about Civil War, World War. They don't care nothing about that, and they don't understand why their daddy's not home. They don't care nothing about that, and they don't understand why everybody else's mom shows up to report card conferences and dances and graduations, and ain't nobody ever show up for them. Maybe I'm a different type of teacher. I'm going to tell you, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I care more now about the wellness of the child than I do about this. But I'm going to give it to you because they still need to know it. But I'm telling you, this comes along with the social and emotional piece that you will need. Your babies are not adults in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. They're not. Stop treating them like they are. I know they have siblings, but they're not their children. Your child still needs you. They need you more now than they did when they couldn't walk. Because now they can't walk in a completely different way. Many of their legs are coming out from under them because life is lifing them. They are dealing with more social media beef, more self-esteem issues, more sexual identity issues than we could have ever imagined. They are babies who need their mothers and their fathers to look them in their eyeball and say, I'm proud of you. Some of them are acting up because nobody ever showed them. I have had to fight with so many kids to show them that I love. And I looked at one girl today. I said, I'm trying to love you and you won't let me. And the reason why you won't let me, and I will apologize. I apologize to you for every adult that promised you love and never gave it to you. I don't have no problem telling a child that. I apologize. Because here I am trying to love you in a way that is going to empower you to be the woman that you need to be. And you won't trust me because someone else dropped you. I'll tell them in a heartbeat. I'll tell their mama I said it. I'll ask their mom, why you dropped them? How come they coming in here performing for these girls and these boys? How come you're not telling them? You need to tell your kid, look them right in the eyeball. I look at my son sometimes and I be like, dudes, he be like, Mom, I know you love me. Dudes, guess what? He be like, I know, love you too. He can predict my love. He already knows I'm going to look at you and say, he was talking to his friend yesterday. He was like, man, if somebody ever did that to me, my mom would be like, yup. Because he knows if nobody else is showing up, his mom going to be there. And guess what? He got a good daddy too. Let me help you out. Just because you ain't with the daddy, you got to be able to separate your relationship. Let me leave that alone because that's a divorce conversation. But you're gonna have to let these fathers be what they need to be. Can I help you out? As teachers, we need to see the fathers. We saw y'all from the time Johnny was in kindergarten. If dad is out of jail now and dad wants to play some kind of part academically, please let us see the father. Please let your child see their father walk into a school because they've been watching everybody else's dad show up. And to them, your frustration with the dad ain't their frustration with the dad. They need to see that. But when y'all leave the school, whatever, y'all do what y'all need to do. But we need to see more fathers and these boys and these girls. Some of these girls are latching on to these boys because they never had a father that told them they were beautiful. So now they're dealing with the biggest knucklehead in the room, right? All because he's an authoritative figure. He brings the authority that she's been so desperately looking for. So I watch girls be called monkey face and that's my B. And they like, girl, you crazy. Let me help you. First of all, I break everybody up in the 7th and 8th grade. Who go with who? Because now you don't go with none of them no more. We don't do relationships in here. I don't care what y'all doing. We ain't doing it. We're not doing it in here. Because as soon as y'all break up, my whole room is in an uproar. Because y'all should have never been dating in nobody's 7th and 8th grade anyway. That's a whole nother conversation. Let's get back to this. Y'all see I'm passionate about this. Right? Because your babies need you differently and probably more than they will ever need you in their entire life in middle school. Y'all ever heard of the middle child syndrome? I'm not the middle child. But I know a lot of middle children who tell me about this syndrome where they don't really feel a part of anything. They're not the baby and they're not the oldest. Well, the same is true for middle school. They got middle child syndrome. They're not the kid, but they're still a kid. But they're a kid that's required, right, and expected to do things on almost a high school level, but they're not in high school. So now they're reaching. They don't really know what they should be doing. And then we got them watching our kids. And I'm not knocking you, right? If you got to have them watch but they are not, we got to stop treating these 6th, 7th, and 8th graders as co-parents because it's twofold. One, they're not parents. Two, your kids coming in telling us what to do like we on the same level. If you're going to give them responsibility, always remind them that they're still a child. Because now they come into the school cussing teachers out, telling teachers to shut up, telling teachers what to do. And let me tell you something. Every teacher is not going to be like, all right, we'll talk later. No, I watched CNN. I saw some of the teachers boxing. Y'all want to know why these teachers are fighting these kids? Because they have gone through a significant amount of abuse. And people get tired. I had one girl play with me a little too much this year. Guess what she did, y'all? Now, I loved her. This was the same girl who was gyrating. This is the same girl who I said, let me love you, right? Kids have sometimes an awkward way of showing you that they love you, right? This girl walked out. I was waiting outside for, guess what she said? She ran up on me and was like, Sam, I'm going to grip you up. She took my thing and she gripped me up. Now, if you know anything about my life, I was a fighter. I fought boys. I never fought a girl in my entire life. I stomped a girl. I put another one in the locker, but I never fist fought a girl. I've only fist fought boys. So I feel like I could beat everybody. Right? So this little girl, now mind you, I look 20 myself. Some people don't realize I'm the teacher. So we look the same age. This little girl gripped me up by she was in 8th grade last year. I saw red, y'all. First thing I did was I said, go get my boss. Go get the principal. Tell her to come here. And she came. She was like, Hamm, what's up? I said, teachers call each other by the last name. She said, Hamm, what's up? I said, she put her hands on me. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to remove her from me. Because I promise you the next time she puts her hands on me. Now, the girl was playing. But she had to know in that moment, you don't play with me like that. Don't nobody play with me like that, as a matter of fact. Some teachers, they call them by first name. You're going to put a handle on mine because we are not the same. So teachers, you've got to demand that level of respect. And parents, what we need from you is to make them demand, right? They have to respect adults as what they are. I don't care if you made them adults in your house. When they get to the school, they have to understand that there is an authoritative figure that they should respect. And you shouldn't want to play with the person who has the pen to write your future. You understand what I'm saying? So we've got to work together. I know I just went off on a whole tangent. But I promise you, because I'm a middle school, I teach 7th and 8th grade, by the way. All right. So I'm passionate about this because I'm in the trenches with it. I see the stuff that our children so desperately need outside of a Common Core standard. They need home standards. They need family standards. Before we get to a Common Core standards, I don't care what this great country of the United States of these Americas done said. We need family core standards. What are the standards in your home? What's the contract that you built? Like, what? We got more teachers. When we were in school, we can come home with that nonsense if you want. My mom ain't care nothing about what I was talking about. She automatically believed the teacher. Now, am I saying you should automatically believe every teacher? No, because I'm going to be honest. Some teachers are terrible. They're terrible people, period. I've worked with some of them, and I had to tell them straight up, this job ain't for you. Because if you don't love teaching, you better get out, because liking teaching will get you locked up. Don't you join the educational field and like it. You better love it. I tell kids all the time, I don't like you. I love you. And they get all up in arms. And I tell them, I have to love you, because love is patient. Love is kind, right? Love doesn't keep record of wrong. I'll have a kid that do something crazy one day and come back and apologize, and I'll be like, tell me again what you did. And they'd be like, Miss Hamm, you don't remember? I can't remember. If I remember everything a kid said to me, did to me, made me feel like, I would have been locked up. I don't mean I would have lost my job. I don't mean I would have quit. I would have been in jail. This thing ain't, y'all be, oh, teachers get off during the summer. No, we are in recovery during the summer. This is not vacation. We are recovering. That job tried to kill me last year, class. Veronica, that job tried to take me out of this world. I grabbed my keys 3 times. I never want to quit education until last year. We got to love this thing. But parents, we need your help. We need some family standards. You want to talk about 6th, 7th, and 8th grade? Create the standards in your home. Let them know what you will and will not take. Give your teachers a chance. Let us explain what happened. Most of the parents that defend their kids are the same ones on Facebook right now. I saw it. Talking about, I want this noodle eating, money hungry, crazy kid jumping on my couch, disrespecting my furniture, arguing with his siblings. I want him back in school. Why? So when we call you and tell you he doing it in school, you can say we lying? It's been times I screenshot some of this stuff. During the summer, you watch some of the Facebook posts of some of these parents that be cussing the school out. They want their kids out of the house too. And we spend more time with your children during the day than you do during the school year. And we can't be frustrated? Because little Tommy, if he jumped on your couch all summer, you don't think he gonna come in here and jump on his chair? So when I call you, tell you he jumping on the chair, you can't tell me, but Tommy said he wasn't. Miss Johnson, I got your screen post from August 4th, 2022, when he was jumping on yours, ma'am. Let me get out of here. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. All right, that's ELA. Let me give you some math real quick. We getting out of here. Because I don't really care. I'm be honest. I don't care nothing about these Common Core standards. What I care about are people standards. We got to build character in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We trying to get these babies ready for high school and college, entrepreneurship and business, military and trade school. You got time to be fussing around playing with this. All right, let's do it. 6th grade, understand ratio concepts and ratio reasoning to solve problems. Okay, this is math. Apply and extend previous understandings of multiplication and division. Divide fractions by fractions. Okay, they should be able to multiply and divide multi-digit numbers and find common factors and multiples. Apply and extend previous understandings of numbers to the system of rational numbers. Okay, expressions and equations. They should. All of this is apply, extend. Go on corestandards.org. Look at 6th grade. I promise you, you're going to see recurring, apply, extend, apply, extend. This is why your K through 5 years are so important, because what are they extending? They are extending the things that you learned for the last 5 years. But if you don't have that, if your child doesn't have the basic foundations, well, they can't extend it. They can't, because they don't have anything to build on. So this is why it's important to make sure, I don't care if your child is in the 7th grade, go back to the 5th grade standards and see if they have foundational cracks in that area. I promise you, it's going to pick some out, right? Go back to that. Go to commoncoresheets.com and look at if I don't care, he going in the 7th grade. I don't want him to have 5th grade work. I don't know why. You better build those foundational skills. And you know your child can't multiply. He can never multiply. Don't think multiplication is going away, because if I showed you some of the work that I deal with my tutoring clients who are now in pre-calculus and algebra 2, it's going to blow your mind. Multiplication is going to be the least of your worries, because you're going to have to be able to apply and extend that, right? We doing matrices and, oh man, is a fool. I was with a client on Saturday. I said, my God, I have this client that don't want to leave. He's going to 10th grade, and he's like, I'm not leaving, Miss Cherron. I'm like, but Miss Cherron don't do 10th grade work. Guess what Miss Cherron is doing? 10th grade work. And you know why? Because I tutored him all the way up to 9th grade. So now I have the foundational skills that he needs. Because we've been working on this thing together. I'd probably be with him through college at this point. I never thought I could. But again, I've been working with him since 4th grade. So for the last 5 years, we've been working on this thing. And so we still in the trenches. So if your child can't multiply and divide, you think, oh, it's not that bad. He just say, oh, he always been bad at math. Y'all better stop using these. I hear it all the time. Yeah, they got an A and a B, but she got a C. Now she in 7th grade getting a C in math. Yeah, but she always been bad at math. Then that's your problem. Because she shouldn't have always been bad at math. There should have been something in place to ensure, right? So I tell you, you don't wait until your child is doing bad to get a tutor. You get them one when they're doing well. Because once they're doing bad, their grades are shot, and so is their esteem. If you get them a tutor when they're doing well, they have more on the inside of them that will push them forward so that they can apply and extend. But if I know I can't if I know I can't read, if I know that every single time I try to read a word problem, I get so frustrated and tired by the time I'm at the end, I can't even do the math because I'm exhausted. Right? Because the foundational skill. So we got to stop using these crutches like, oh, she always been bad at science. No, we don't rely on what's okay. She was bad at walking before too. You didn't let her crawl. She not in the 7th grade crawling. You did something about it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you cannot use this as, well, she always been bad, so I'm gonna accept this C or this D. She did good anyway. No, she didn't. She got a C and a D, ma'am. What are you doing to help her apply and extend? All right. So that's 6th grade math. I pray you're getting something from this. I hope that you share this with someone. Again, I can't go through all the standards because we'll be here from now until the Lord Jesus Christ returns, because that's how much is in here. Remember, I'm only going over the first part, like this one little snippet. It's still like 8 other things under it, like different subject. Like, all right. 7th grade, analyze proportional relationships. Does your child know what proportion is? Can they use them to solve real world things? So solving real world problems and mathematical problems you're going to hear in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You have to be able to apply and extend what you're learning in school to what you're learning in class. Okay, so if you're learning about percentages, for example, and multiplication, then you probably are going to enter into word problems where you have to calculate the sales tax of an item, right? And determine what the sales price is going to be and what the tax is going to be. Real world problems, okay? Apply and extend previous under. I'm telling you, all of this is the same. Draw, construct, and describe geometrical figures. Use random samplings to draw inferences about a population. Got to be able to look at graphs and tell something about a population based on what you see in the graph, okay? Last one, 8th grade. Woo! Tired. Can your child use linear equations? System of linear equations. Do they understand slope, x coordinate, y coordinate? Do they understand that y over x equals m? That y equals m times x? Can they strategically choose and efficiently implement procedures to solve linear equations? Can they grasp the concept of a function? What is a function? Oh my goodness, right? Do they know input and output? Can they use ideas about distances and angles? How they behave under translations, rotations, reflections, dilations, and ideas about congruence, which just simply means equal, and similarity. Can they do that? Do they know that there are numbers that are rational? Can they approximate them by rational numbers? Okay? Radicals, integers, exponents. All right? All enter into. Woo! I'm tired. 8th grade year. All right, that's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Tomorrow, please meet me here for our last final day. We're going to talk about professionalism. I'm going to give you some really good tips about how to build the bridge between home and school. Did you know that your relationship with your teacher, right, your child's teacher, could possibly take them from an 89 to a 90, or from a 79 to an 80? Yep. Do you know that there are times that teachers will pull your child to the side because of the relationship they have with you and have them take that test over? It's true. I'm sorry. It's true. Huh? If I know that your mom and your dad and your grandmother come all the time and they are heavily invested in your education, and I see that you scored a 60 on something, do you know I'm going to pull you to the side and be like, come here. Now, you know good and well you can't go home with this. Come take this. What was wrong with you? Oh, I just had a headache. Okay. Come take this test over. Because I ain't going, when I know you have a family of people, you can get mad all you want. It's true. It's what happens. It's what happens. Your relationship with your child's teacher determines how well your child's teacher keeps an eye on the success of your child in their classroom. Because we partner with each other. I know what y'all been working on. I know what you told me she did last night. I know, right? We've partnered together. All right, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Love you all so much. I will see you in the morning. Peace.